Hello everyone. You have to excuse me. Got a face full of pizza. Hi. Hello. Let's hope you can hear me. It's a Nate. Hello Nate. I'm hoping I'm audible to the world. Yes! Yes, we did it! We started a new year without audio issue. Oh, I've jinxed it. But we started a new year without audio issues. Hello! Hello! Hello, hi. How are we all doing? How are you? How are you all? It's gonna be a important stream. Hello, Clem Fandango. Yes, it's gonna be a stream. It's definitely gonna be a stream today. Because we've got some things to talk about. Some stuff and things. I'm gonna bring back the festive cheer. How are your Christmases? I expect comprehensive responses in the chat. Got another slice of pizza and it's just looking at me. But it'd be rude to eat it. Eat it on stream. It's alright, okay, fine. I'm just gonna tuck him in. Well, so, seriously, I think this is the most barbecue pizza that's ever barbecued. If you missed your little brother, you shouldn't be throwing things at him. Right. Enough horseplay. Enough sloppy, slimy pizza. We have a bit of an announcement, don't we? Last year was a bit crazy, especially towards the last, 12th of it. Neither good or bad. A distinctly average Christmas, Sheldon. That's that's all perfectly balanced, as all good things should be. Yeah, it was a good year. We got campaign 1 in the can, and we did a load of sort of like non-D&D games. So we did. So there was some Shadowrun, there was some Pick Me. The creator of Pick Me, Mr. Sago, actually watched it and liked it, and that was really good to hear. We had some Christmas Dread, we had some Paranoia, we had some Tales from the Loop, we had some other stuff that I'm desperately trying to remember. We had Baldur's Gate, there was lots of Baldur's Gate, Call of Cthulhu, that was it, and Eidolon Project. Yeah, it was loads towards the end of the year. And all of that was to theoretically give me some time to prepare what we're about to announce tonight. So, as I say, campaign 1 has come to a conclusion. The town of New Prosper has been established under the watchful eye of grumpy old sods like Carmichael Comstock. But the elsewhere setting is ongoing. It's an evolving setting. It's persistent, and it's big. So I think we should watch the trailer for the second campaign. How's that sound? It'll also give me a chance to eat more pizza. There's probably a really long delay on the chat. So, you know what? Let's just go in for it. Welcome to Elysia, one of the glorious cities of Elsewhere, nestled within the valleys of the Glimmer Peaks. Home to House Antalir, one of the Asavar great houses, Elysia stood as a beacon of commerce and culture. The mortals of Elsewhere travelled from far and wide to tread upon the cobblestone streets of Elysia, seeking a better life among the city's glistening towers. And then, the War of Dragons began. Regentess Turia Valenmar of House Antalir, along with many of the other leaders of Asavar great houses, publicly sided with the great betrayer, Akan. Each of them powerful spellweavers, they had become accustomed to the power that arcane magic had granted them, and therefore chose to stand against Aya and her children. Thrust into a grand conflict between gods and mortals, the citizens of Elysia rallied together in defiance of House Antalir and pledged their allegiance to the Broodmother instead, forcing Regentess Turia and the supporters of the Great House to flee the city. Free of Turia's betrayal, Elysia's soldiers served on the front lines with distinction, whilst the city's manufacturing prowess proved to be a great boon to the war effort. And then, the eschaton began. As Elsewhere's skies ignited, her oceans froze and her lands rent asunder, the city of Elysia and those poor souls still within her borders were wrenched from the ground and hurled into the void between worlds. Within hours, panic and desperation tore through the city like wildfire as the people of Elysia tried to understand what had happened, leaving them unprepared for what was to come. Adrift in the etheric sea, Elysia attracted the attention of the inhabitants of this lost place, causing the city to be swarmed by anguished and angry spirits. The streets were filled with terror as the vengeful souls descended upon the living, draining the citizens' life force in vicious attacks. The attacks were only stopped by the creation of a magical sphere, which encased Elysia in her entirety, forcing the spirits out and keeping them at bay. This tragedy happened 2 long years ago. For 2 years, the survivors of Elysia wake up to a sunless sky of swirling purple miasma, unsure of what the future holds in store for them. Elysia's once gleaming streets are now awash with crime, poverty, and shattered dreams. Buildings once filled with life now stand vacant and derelict. The citizens of Elysia are still held under the terms of a wartime martial law which has never ended, effectively placing the leader of Elysia's now corrupt city guard, Marshal Gion Algarve, in control of the city. Within dark corners of the now fallen city, there are those who whisper that things no longer have to be this way. Murmurs of revolution reach the ears of those close enough to listen, and shadowy figures scheme for a new future for the city of Elysia. Only time will tell as to whose future will be realised first. I'm excited to introduce Elysia Rising, the second campaign in the Elsewhere setting, made up of 20 sessions with approximately 1 hour half episodes released each week. Using John Harper's Blades in the Dark system, we will follow a crew of criminal underdogs as they navigate the upheaval in the lost city of Elysia. We also introduce a roster of new players and their characters for this adventure, as well as some familiar faces. So join us as we venture into the dark and mysterious streets of Elysia. Join us as daring scoundrels dive into the shadows to try and make themselves a bit of coin. Join us as the revolution begins. Oh! 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 He's jinxed it! He has jinxed it! Imagine none of that just happened. Yeah, we did it. We did it. We did a trailer. Viva la Revolution indeed, Chris. I'm back. I'm back. Yeah. It was foolish of me to say that there would be no audio issues this side of the new year, wasn't it? But yeah. Elysia Rising, the third most popular name amongst the players of Elysia Rising. But yes, I'm really excited and jazzed for this new campaign, because it's a lot of firsts for us. There's it's the first time the main campaign on the channel has not been Dungeons and Dragons, and you know we're using the Blades in the Dark system, which plays quite differently, has a very different feel to D&D. But yeah, what is Elysia Rising? So, the second campaign in the Elsewhere setting. We can't see that. There we go. Right, there's fan service for you, so we can see the cat. Yes. So, Elysia Rising takes place 2 years after the cataclysmic event of the Eschaton, the end of the war between dragons. Yes, non-D&D equals woke. For those of you who watched through year one, the clue I guess is in the name, that took place 1 year after the events of the Eschaton, and Elysia Rising takes place 2 years after that point. But the story and atmosphere of Elysia Rising is very different. If campaign 1, if year 1 was a story about kind of the brave heroics venturing out into the wilds, kind of rediscovering what was lost in the aftermath of the Eschaton, and then kind of banding together to plant a flag and begin what was returned as the rediscovery. At the same time, whilst kind of juggling against all of the threats that now exist in this kind of new, rearranged world of Elsewhere. Elysia Rising is definitely the opposite. It is a very claustrophobic campaign. The city of Elysia has kind of been lost, adrift in the void for 2 years. And the people that you call your neighbour are probably the only ones that you really know nowadays. There is no outside contact that doesn't want to eat you and drain your soul. So, makes for a very different idea. Rather than looking at what could be, as we did in campaign 1, we are now looking at what is left in campaign 2, and sort of like how those scraps have kind of kept a shattered civilization of people together over 2 very hard and dangerous years. But yeah, you know, the whole idea of Elsewhere was that it was going to be a kind of a celebration of different types of tabletop role-playing games, not just Dungeons and Dragons. So after kind of reading through and seeing a couple of Blades in the Dark kind of actual plays, I kind of knew that it was a system I wanted to run, and the story that I had in mind, it would just fit a treat. Yeah, Blades in the Dark is an incredible incredible system. Officially, it uses the Forged in the Dark rule set, but it has a lot of similarities to Powered by the Apocalypse role-playing systems. So for anyone who's been watching, who did watch the now completed Shadowrun campaign that was on the channel, very, very similar themes, although rather than sort of like fantasy cyberpunk, we're just kind of going fantasy, like low fantasy in a high fantasy world, something along those lines. You know, the characters that our players will be playing aren't, you know, it's not a heroic fantasy like Dungeons and Dragons is. Instead, it's, you know, a starter scoundrel, because everyone is a scoundrel, is probably more capable than a level 1 in D&D, but like they will never reach the lofty kind of power levels of even mid-tier Dungeons and Dragons characters. And what that creates is a sense that any twist of bad twist of fate, or, you know, a plan gone wrong, could have disastrous consequences. It is a story where the player characters are always the underdogs, and they are always kind of doing their best to punch up and then escape unnoticed, which will be difficult. As we've seen from the trailer, the city is in the infancy of a revolution, and how that pans out in such a closed community, we'll have to find out when we play. Yes, we've got some new players to the mix. We've actually only got one returning cast member from campaign 1, but we'll do the official kind of cast reveal when we do the character creation video that will be coming out shortly. The characters are pretty, like, we're pretty much there for the characters. We have a pretty good idea. Everyone has a pretty good idea of who it is they're playing, and I'm really excited to see these kind of five hoodlums come together and wreak havoc across the city of Elysia. But yeah, it's I'm excited. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's good from a pace point of view. That's a good thing to talk about. It's going to hopefully feel a lot quicker than Dungeons and Dragons, in so much that arguably you need a good couple of hours of D&D, D&D to really kind of get into the meat and bones of whatever it is you're getting into the meat and bones of. Just where everything, because everything's so big and bombastic, it can take a while. But Blades in the Dark really kind of has a very unique way of addressing scores. So you're not going on adventures per se, you're going on scores, you're going on heists, you're going on breaking and enterings, you're going on interrogation, you're just doing, you know, potentially unsavory jobs around the city. But you can very, very quickly get through a job. A job can be resolved in a couple of dice rolls. And what that does is it leaves us more time to really kind of focus in on the characters themselves and how they kind of mesh and intermingle with one another as part of a crew. So over the space of the 20 sessions, which will be released in 40 half episodes, of roughly about an hour each, so it should be significantly easier to digest. Hopefully something's gonna, the game's quick enough that something will be happening in each half that's noteworthy, and we'll see how the players and the crew kind of grow and adapt and evolve in themselves, and then how the ripples of their development what kind of consequences that has on the city around them. Because Alicia is in the midst of this revolution, no one will be standing still in this city. Everyone will be a mover and a shaker. And the problem is, when everyone's moving and shaking, every so often someone gets knocked to the ground. So yeah, I genuinely don't know how the end of the campaign is going to look, which is a very good thing. It's a very nice thing as a games master. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to what the players have in store for us. So, what's the time? It is 10 to 8. Little tip. What I mean, other than that, what's next for the channel? Hopefully there's going to be some more stuff beside the main campaign. Yeah, in the tail end of last year, we wrapped up Shadowrun. We wrapped up, basically we wrapped up Baldur's Gate for the time being. I've got some plans for the new year to sit kind of alongside the main campaign. I'm really hoping that by also kind of doing this kind of more paced out release schedule for the main campaign, that I'll have more time to do stuff other than editing. Fingers crossed. I can almost hear the sound of Julia rolling her eyes at the thought of me not spending time doing editing. 300 subs, yeah, that'd be nice. If we could round up, if we can round up like 6 people in the space of the next 35 minutes, that'd be great. Everyone make a bot account. Don't do that. Don't do that. Maybe do that, but I didn't tell you to. Yes, we've got some other stuff going on. So, decidedly at a... We don't really have any side adventures running beyond Tales from the Loop. There are more episodes of Tales from the Loop, which will be hosted by Carl, due to come out in the new year. Actually, there's going to, I mean, over Christmas, as a Christmas treat for everyone, you lucky things, we launched a second channel, didn't we? Mr. Locke in the chat there said it was only a matter of time, and now it's happened. Yes, if you kind of consume our content through sort of a podcast or audio only kind of way, you can absolutely head on over to Explorers of Elsewhere 2, where like audio only versions of everything, all the kind of main stuff that we'll release will go up. I think Blades in the Dark, so campaign 2, will fit a podcast style very well, because it is a intrinsically more kind of theatre of the mind game than like Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder or anything like that. So yeah, Explorers Elsewhere 2, that's always a good shout to subscribe to. The first big event is going to be Gaming for Good. Fingers crossed it goes ahead. I'm pretty sure it's going to go ahead, but this will be the 3rd year running that we will be supporting Gaming for Good. So we're still kind of working out what our like contributions to that are going to be, but at the very least, we're going to have like a gaming day. It'll be live streamed. It'll all be for charity. So, you know, sort of like child homelessness in and around the UK. I'm presuming they're not changing the charity, but someone in chat might be able to correct me. Yes, we'll get 3 kind of weird and wacky games in and out. I'm 666% definitely excited for the third and final installment of Jason Statham's Big Vacation. And we will see how our beloved action hero bees. We'll see how our beloved action hero deals with his new residence in the lower planes of hell that he found himself in at the end of the second installment, facing off against the Lord of the Underworld himself, Ross Kemp. Yeah, we'll also get to at least two other sessions in. Still haven't. We don't know which games they are, but if you're watching this video and you have some ideas, feel free to chuck some in the comments of any kind of game systems that you think would be good to run for sort of like an hour and a half. And yeah, we'll be doing our best to raise money for the given charities. Jason Statham's Big Damnation. Yes. So, Gaming for Good, that's definitely happening. It's really worth the cause. You should all definitely tune in. And obviously, not just to what we do, people around the channel will be doing stuff separately, and there will also be other kind of content creators that will be doing stuff. So make sure to check all of their contributions out as well. Beyond that, I'm acutely aware that Dungeons and Dragons is about to have their new Not edition release in 2024. So I can imagine we'll have some kind of D&D stuff this year. But on my bucket list for 2024, I also have a number of other systems that I want to kind of cross off, test the waters with. So I really want to give Pathfinder 2nd edition a twirl. Especially now that in itself has had its revision. There's going to be presumably a slew of RPGs off the back of the new Orc rule set guidance thingy. So the stuff from Cobalt Keep, the stuff from Matt Colville, and Pathfinder 2, PAZ. So yeah, it'd be fun to try those out in some capacity. Recently, I may or may not have gotten back into Warhammer 40k, so that's kind of I've got the itch to play some Warhammer Wrath and Glory, which is a 40k RPG, a Warhammer 40k RPG, where you can play as there's various kind of power levels. So you could play as lowly Imperial Guardsmen all the way up to hallowed Space Marines of the Adeptus Astartes and everything in between. There is a part of me that thinks the Orc, like an Orc group. Yeah, I think an Orc mob would be quite amusing. Thanks to the Emperor. Yeah. Well, I'm going to reach out to Henry Cavill, see if he wants to play the Emperor first. But if he says no, then yeah, by all means, you're able to. You've got it. So yeah, Wrath and Glory. We've spoken about it enough that I think it's about time that we actually just play a game of Thirsty Sword Lesbians. Valentine's, perhaps? That seems appropriate. Whilst Shadowrun has finished, I definitely don't want to... I want to keep that in the back pocket, so we've already teased that there will be another Shadowrun episode coming out at some point this year. So yeah, Shadowrun, given its nature of kind of going on missions, it's very good for sort of like spot one-off episodes here and there. More DayZ on the channel. Yeah, maybe I should just do a live stream and just let the camera watch a cat sleeping in a radiator bed. Well, that's content for you right there, isn't it? Yeah. There's loads of stuff. I've already kind of started going through all the things that I'd like to do in terms of like actual plays, and I'm already at risk of having too much. So we will see what kind of rises to the surface as we move further through the year. But for now, in the month of January, I'm really focusing on getting Elysia Rising up off the ground, getting that started. We are due to start kind of recording properly for that very soon. Get that off the ground, then we'll do Gaming for Good. I'm gonna be playing some Baldur's Gate 3 on my own at some point in between there, and in April, off the back of their announcement, I will be doing a Let's Play of Fallout London, which, you know, I've been a part of the Fallout London project for a while, but even so, like, even seeing kind of the stuff behind the scenes, like, I'm constantly wowed by the stuff, the stuff that they're doing. I will play Baldur's Gate 3. I will. Maybe. Yeah, I'm constantly wowed by what Team Folon has been pushing out. And, like, in a way, I'm kind of happy that my contribution was relatively small, because that means there's just kind of so much that I'm going to be able to experience with, like, fresh eyes. And, I mean, Fallout 4 was fun. I think if Fallout London manages to maintain the sometimes mind-boggling insanity and like clippable moments that Fallout 4 provided us, then I think that'll be a really fun series to watch. And we all know that at some point I'm going to find whoever I'm voicing and club them round the head with a post box tied to a cricket bat or something. I mean, it's Fallout, isn't it? So, yes, I'm gonna have fun playing through that. The live streams will be carrying on. So, for the lot of you that are here, obviously, you all know that these are now happening on a Tuesday. But going forward, it'll be every other Tuesday, we'll have a Tavern live stream. I'm looking to kind of try and diversify and kind of reach out, so not necessarily kind of dwell on things internal within the channel, but kind of reach out to other content creators, other people doing amazing things in the tabletop RPG community, and I mean, basically having chats with them. That'd be nice. And also, in general, given that there's a slower main campaign release cycle, I do want to also start to do some videos that aren't actual plays, live streams, let's plays, and do more kind of advisory videos. So like tips and guides. Sometimes I think back to what Carl, Anton and I were doing on the original, like the first draft of Tavern Between Dimensions, and I think back to segments like the DM's table, where, you know, Carl, Anton, other people would have questions about kind of games mastering, and, you know, just general questions about TTRPGs, and it just felt quite fulfilling to provide an answer, to provide some support. Whilst they were happening, I do know there was one person that in particular that reached out and said that the stuff, like the advice I was giving, was really helpful for them, which was a real kind of warm fuzzy feeling in the stomach, and I think perhaps it'd be good to have kind of dedicated videos. And I mean, again, chuck them in the comments if you think of anything any videos that'd be good to look at. At the very least, I could very quickly imagine like how to play Blades in the Dark type videos, even up to more kind of meta advice, like how do I tell a good story? Yeah. How do I make my boss fights more exciting, etc, etc. I think, yeah, it'd be fun videos to make, and hopefully fun and informative videos to watch. I think it just dawned on me that, yeah, we're about to start campaign 2. I should probably do a number of kind of like videos describing like what Elsewhere is. We did a Tavern what is Elsewhere, and I think ADHD brain kind of sidetracked me a little bit, and we didn't really get to the bottom of anything. So maybe I should do some videos where I basically sit there and go, this is a Lorivar, this is an Asavar. Yes, Chris. Like all these kind of new ideas. I mean, so I mean, you mentioned initiative. Like things like that. You know, little bits of advice, little changes. Kind of having importing knowledge in from other game settings to improve the one that you're currently playing. So I know, for example, that Sly Flourish. Sly Flourish has a lot of advice, but sorry, it's actually Matt Colville that has got banks of videos where he's very, very slyly going, here are all these mechanics from 4th edition D&D. We're just going to drop them into 5th, and everyone's going to think they're amazing. Yeah, just stuff like that. Just kind of, because, acknowledging that everyone has different experiences with tabletop RPGs. So things that we may kind of take for granted, we may assume just everyone knows, really isn't the case. So, kind of drilling down to the basics, I say all the way up to these kind of meta ideas. How to get good? Well, when I find out, I'll let you know. Sheldon. Where Nate says, when the characters are announced, it would be good to have a vid or live stream about creating. Yeah, 100%. I think it would be good to kind of drill in, because it's dawned on me that, I haven't really spoken about the heritages of Elsewhere. I mean, a lot of the history we kind of very deliberately leave vague, so there's room for me to grow it, for the players to grow it, etc, etc. But yeah, there are some things that are kind of codified and set in stone, so it would be good to go through, like, what is the difference between a Majani and a Keeper? What is the difference between these two different subtypes of Majani, for example? Did Haladradis shave her head or not? Question mark. So yeah, it'd be good to go through, do one on. I know Carl will get a kick out of this, but perhaps do a video on the Pantheon and that kind of background lore setting, just so when I start saying made up words, they might mean something to you, whereas before they might not have. I think I'm tanked out. I think that's it. Yeah, campaign 2. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. We can. That should be first episodes. I'm planning for February to come out. Just get a bit of a run up, and then we'll hit gaming for good. Yeah, more kind of outreaching live streams. Ooh, Sheldon. Yeah, voice work, impressions, different accents, etc. That's a very good shout. Because like, I think part of the reason why I want to do kind of more advice-driven videos is that I would genuinely be overjoyed to see more people games mastering in various for various systems, because I think there is a massive shortage of people to run games. There's loads of people that want to play them, but there's a lot of those players end up thinking that running the game will be too difficult, too kind of daunting, too overwhelming. And if I can do anything to start breaking down those barriers, that'd be brilliant. So yeah, things like voices. Like, I think there's a lot of people that think, oh well, I can't do a different voice. So I can't run a game. It's just like, no, there's a lot of tips, there's a lot of tricks, there's a lot of alternatives to having lots of silly voices. I mean, I won't admit it publicly, he says on a live stream, but I know I only have a very, very finite amount of voices in me. But it's knowing how to work them or kind of alter them, and yeah, just like how to successfully present whatever kind of character or idea or situation or scenario you've got in your head, and kind of, you know, readdressing what makes a good game master. Because I have a feeling that there are quite a lot of people who, you know, what they perceive as being a good games master is actually quite far from the truth. In so much that they're like looking far too high. Like, we're looking at Matt Mercer's and saying, oh, that's just like your random back of a pub DM. Will we do another recording in person? Maybe. Maybe. It was fun. It was really, really fun to do Dread. It was a learning experience for sure, but I'm certainly glad that we did it. Obviously, with a game like Dread, where there was such a visceral physicality to it, that was, you know, kind of necessary. But I've heard, well, I found out from Rob, Rob from Heroes Wanted UK. For anyone that's fancies a pro DM in their life, Rob ran Paranoia for us. It was really, really good fun. But I found out after the recording that one of the mechanics is like, you're supposed to secretly like pass notes to the games master, because you're able to declare you're doing something and like roll a dice for it without letting the other players know, hence, you know, paranoia. But sometimes if you screw up your note and throw it at the games master, if the games master can't dodge out the way of it, then they have to read the note, and that has to happen there and then. So yeah, like playing Paranoia again, but this time in person, with bits of paper being flung around the table, sounds like a beautiful amount of chaos that will probably be hell for audio engineering. But if there's something that you all know about me, I don't like doing things easily. So yeah, we'll see. Any other questions? Might call it quit. I mean, there's a really good pizza downstairs. Yes, Christmas Eve Paranoia, just flinging flinging bits of paper at one another. It's just so. It's gonna be. I think one of the biggest challenges for 2024 is deciding what we're not gonna play. Because there's just, we're riding on, the post waves of the tabletop RPG explosion. What was my most fun non-main campaign moment? 2023. Let me go through. I'm interested. Let's go through. I've just got so much content. I can't remember what. I don't know whether it's my. You said most fun. Okay, I can have a top 3. Okay, definitely in the top 3 somewhere is accidentally, on purpose, turning the Call of Cthulhu finale into a Fast and Furious skit. I don't think any of us expected that. But for some reason I put points in automobile, and by God I was going to use them. So that was good. There were the chemistry and chaos in the Baldur's Gate 3 co-op playthroughs led to some genuinely I'm crying moments. Just watching through while I was editing them, and we took the now officially best game of the year, game of the year 2023, and then we fired the plot out of a cannon, and we still had loads and loads and loads of fun. Sorcerer Supreme. Yeah, officially, that was start of the year, wasn't it? Was it start of the year? Let's go. Oh my God, so much content. You should watch it all. When was it? It was before year 1. January the 8th, yeah, just squeaked in 2023. You're right. That I think the fact that Sorcerer Supreme was so funny really kind of highlights how, in inverted commas, easy it is to make a really good role-playing game. The rules for Sorcerer Supreme are fit on one page, and a large chunk of that are the magic words. In the grand scheme of things, the rules for Sorcerer Supreme are the magic words, and this is what you can do with them, and then they just let you go. And we turned off the sun. There he is. Oh, but yeah, better late than never, Mr. Doodash. But yeah, Sorcerer Supreme, side-splittingly funny. Maybe we should play that again. That'd be a good one. Because there's games like Honey Heist where you're we don't really know how this is gonna pan out. But then there's games like Sorcerer Supreme where even generally speaking, like, when things go wrong, it's even more drastically bonkers than if it goes right. Favorite unexpected moment on a live stream? Unexpected moments, every time the audio works. Those are my favourite unexpected moments. Wildermyth. There was so much, so many emotions when we played through Wildermyth. If you haven't played it yourselves, it's not very expensive and it's just phenomenal. Like, procedurally generated fantasy game. If you're playing on your own, you can control up to 5 characters, but you can co-op up to 5 players. Because it's procedurally generated, and like the characters will always have different interactions with one another. They'll grow and kind of develop differently based on like who they're with and what you're doing with them, and like, you know, every story is different. Before we played it on stream, Julia and I played it together, and like, it's never not fun. Yeah, that's right. It's never not fun. But that, like, I'm really pleased that we went on for those extra 15 minutes, extra 30 minutes, sorry, just to get the roller coaster that was Julia's character's mum, who I foolishly gave a EastEnders Stacey Slater kind of voice. But yeah, thank you for the views, Lane. Yeah, Wildermyth, really fun. You know, I think I'd like to get a few more sort of like co-op kind of games on the channel. So we're putting Baldur's Gate 3 to bed for now, mainly so I can actually play it through on my own. But yeah, Wildermyth, A-star. Whether or not we jump on any bandwagons as and when they come along, but like games like Lethal Company, I think would be quite amusing to do on a live stream. Just to have 4 of us screeching like monkeys as we you know, get Lethal Companied. I've rediscovered my love for Deep Rock Galactic, so maybe some of that. Yeah, Sheldon, absolutely. Like, I would love to get some more Wildermyth in. So you know, how we do that is up for debate, whether or not it's just like live stream content. But then I'm wary of live streams just being like party game let's plays. So perhaps there'll be a short, you know, 5 or 6 episode burst of Wildermyth. Eerie Solaris. Now I've only got so many weeks to release things in, Carl. Yeah, as I say, I think one of the biggest challenges for 2024 is going to be deciding what we won't do, because I will try to do it all, and then I'll have to not. But most importantly, campaign 2 starts soon. You know what? I think, in a very cheesy kind of way, I'm going to wrap out the stream, mainly for Carl's sake, because he's late, you know. Might play the trailer again. Everyone can leave a little bit early if they want. Carl can sit here and watch the trailer on his own. Yes, I'm very much looking forward to 2024. It's going to be a good year. I feel it in my bones. and I'm looking forward to everyone sharing it with us. Right, thank you everyone. I'm going to play the trailer for the second campaign, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Welcome to Elysia, one of the glorious cities of Elsewhere, nestled within the valleys of the Glimmer Peaks. Home to House Antalir, one of the Asavar great houses, Elysia stood as a beacon of commerce and culture. The mortals of Elsewhere travelled from far and wide to tread upon the cobblestone streets of Elysia, seeking a better life among the city's glistening towers. And then, the War of Dragons began. Regentess Turia Valenmar of House Antalir, along with many of the other leaders of Asavar great houses, publicly sided with the great betrayer, Akan. Each of them powerful spellweavers, they had become accustomed to the power that arcane magic had granted them, and therefore chose to stand against Aya and her children. Thrust into a grand conflict between gods and mortals, the citizens of Elysia rallied together in defiance of House Antalir and pledged their allegiance to the Broodmother instead, forcing Regentess Turia and the supporters of the Great House to flee the city. Free of Turia's betrayal, Elysia's soldiers served on the front lines with distinction, whilst the city's manufacturing prowess proved to be a great boon to the war effort. And then, the eschaton began. As Elsewhere's skies ignited, her oceans froze and her lands rent asunder, the city of Elysia and those poor souls still within her borders were wrenched from the ground and hurled into the void between worlds. Within hours, panic and desperation tore through the city like wildfire as the people of Elysia tried to understand what had happened, leaving them unprepared for what was to come. Adrift in the etheric sea, Elysia attracted the attention of the inhabitants of this lost place, causing the city to be swarmed by anguished and angry spirits. The streets were filled with terror as the vengeful souls descended upon the living, draining the citizens' life force in vicious attacks. The attacks were only stopped by the creation of a magical sphere, which encased Elysia in her entirety, forcing the spirits out and keeping them at bay. This tragedy happened 2 long years ago. For 2 years, the survivors of Elysia wake up to a sunless sky of swirling purple miasma, unsure of what the future holds in store for them. Elysia's once gleaming streets are now awash with crime, poverty, and shattered dreams. Buildings once filled with life now stand vacant and derelict. The citizens of Elysia are still held under the terms of a wartime martial law which has never ended, effectively placing the leader of Elysia's now corrupt city guard, Marshal Gion Algarve, in control of the city. Within dark corners of the now fallen city, there are those who whisper that things no longer have to be this way. Murmurs of revolution reach the ears of those close enough to listen, and shadowy figures scheme for a new future for the city of Elysia. Only time will tell as to whose future will be realized first. I'm excited to introduce Elysia Rising, the second campaign in the Elsewhere setting, made up of 20 sessions with approximately 1 hour half episodes released each week. Using John Harper's Blades in the Dark system, we will follow a crew of criminal underdogs as they navigate the upheaval in the lost city of Elysia. We also introduce a roster of new players and their characters for this adventure, as well as some familiar faces. So join us as we venture into the dark and mysterious streets of Elysia. Join us as daring scoundrels dive into the shadows to try and make themselves a bit of coin. Join us as the revolution begins.